War is a risky undertaking. Any amount of planning cannot guarantee the outcomes which have been simulated during the war room discussions. This is why maneuvering through the sudden realities becomes more important. Being vigilant regarding the operations to not be sabotaged by other entities is one of the most significant aspects in war. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Atul Mishra, and in this video I will tell you how by sending Chechen fighters to fight Russia's war in Kiev, Russia may end up committing a big blunder. Let's begin. On February 21st, Russian President Vladimir Putin declared Donbas independent. He emphasized that Ukraine is a product of Bolshevik communism and casted doubt on its sovereignty. According to Putin, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Russia always collaborated with Ukraine, respecting its interests. He added, however, in Kiev, parasitism began to prevail over collaboration with the West, and corruption actually pervaded and undermined Ukrainian statehood, the entire system, and all branches of authority. Among his stated objectives, one was the removal of a puppet regime that is serving the interests of the common people of Ukraine, and the other was making sure that Ukraine remains demilitarized. While the tone and demeanor were extremely serious, Putin has time and again reiterated the brotherly bond between Ukrainians and Russians with the undertone of East Slav connect. Till now, this approach towards the offensive in Ukraine can be justified, but things can take an entirely different turn if Chechen fighters were involved en masse. This is because this conflict could spiral into a conflict between the adherents of Orthodox Christianity and Sunni Islam. In Ukraine, a squad of Chechen special forces has been dispatched to detain or assassinate a number of Ukrainian officials. According to news reports, each soldier was given a special deck of cards with Ukrainian officials' photos and descriptions on them. The list includes officials and security professionals accused of crimes by the Russian Investigative Committee. The Chechen team is believed to be waiting in Ukrainian forest with an order to kill if people on the wanted list could not be captured. There is speculation that people labeled as Nazis by Moscow will also be targeted. Putin earlier stated that one of the main goals of the operation was to denazify Ukraine. Ramzan Kadyrov, Chechny's leader and a close Putin friend, was said to have visited his men in Ukraine, according to state television. If the Chechen forces are allowed to indulge in offensive operations in Ukraine, then the Russian Federation will lose every shred of support, because then people will not think that the special operation was to purge the country of Western puppets. It will seem as if Vladimir Putin allowed the adherents of Islam to run over the adherents of Orthodox Christianity. Both Russia and Ukraine claim to be descended from the Rus, also known as Ancient Rus, a monarchy that existed in the 10th century and united multiple tribes and clans of various nationalities under the Byzantine or Orthodox Church. The Russian and Ukrainian people's histories diverged after the Mongol conquest of Ancient Rus. However, beginning in the mid-17th century, Ukraine was progressively integrated into the Russian Empire. And by the late 18th century, with the partition of Poland, Ukraine had been completely absorbed into Russia. Not only this, both Moscow and Kiev are important seats of Orthodox Church and thus share an inseparable bond. In 988, under the leadership of Vladimir the Great, the first Christian church in Ukrainian territory was formed with its center in the city of Kiev. However, later in the 17th century, right to ordinate, the metropolitan of Kiev was given to the Moscow Patriarch. While many changes have happened since, these two nations have immense similarities, so much so that the Russian soldiers are taking all the care in the world to minimize civilian casualties. However, with the entry of the Chechen fighters, this equation will change entirely, and in the long term, it will be difficult for Vladimir Putin to minimize the resentment that Ukrainians will hold for the religious humiliation.